Conservative activist Robbie Starbuck is claiming success because McDonald's is the latest company that has announced that they're rolling back their DEI initiatives. This here is the headline in the Associated Press. And when you read this particular story, McDonald's joins companies like Walmart, John Deere, Harley Davidson, and others rolling back their DEI initiatives. The story says McDonald's said Monday it will retire specific goals for achieving diversity at senior leadership levels. They also will end a program that encourages its suppliers to develop diversity training and to increase the number of minority group members represented within their own leadership ranks. Now, McDonald's said that they achieve a lot of their particular goals, a lot of these initiatives were rolled out in 2021. AP says McDonald's, they said they rolled these diversity initiatives in 2001 after a spate of sexual harassment lawsuits filed by employees and a lawsuit alleging discrimination brought by a group of Black former McDonald's franchise owners. Now, if you go through this particular story here, they cite the Supreme Court decision ending affirmative action in colleges and universities. And many of these white conservatives, they have been using that as a way to target these various corporations. And so one of the folks who is claiming credit for what happened is Robbie Starbuck. So Robbie, let me pull this back up here. So Robbie Starbuck, he got mad that I called him a white man, said he's Hispanic. I'm like, there's a thing called white Hispanic, but he didn't respond to that one. So this is what he did. So he got his Twitter post here and he says, he said he was 3 days ago, he told McDonald's he was going to do a story on their quote woke policies. And then they made their announcement. And so he is sitting here taking a victory lap. And he's writing, telling what they're going to be doing here. And so the thing that's interesting, I want to go to Randy here first, because here's what these white conservatives and folks like Robbie Starbuck are doing. They are targeting these companies and trying to get them to back down. But you know what? I got to show some love to Costco, because Costco, Randy said, hell no, we're not sitting here backing down from. Costco stood by their DEI efforts. And that's what more companies need to be doing. And I call this, and I told a number of different corporations, you're going to get targeted by a lot of these people because they're going to go after every single program that's being created to provide some opportunities for African Americans and others. And folks like Robbie Starbuck, they love talking about, it needs to be colorblind in merit, but they say nothing about legacy. They say nothing about in these corporations, in these franchises, how white owners have been making millions and billions all of these years. They say nothing about those different things. And so this is attacking any program that exists. And you know what? Let me also say this here. White women have been beneficiaries. And you got guys like Robbie Starbuck who act as if white men somehow are being disenfranchised when, let's look at boards of directors. Let's look at McDonald's franchise owners. Let's look at corporate executives. And so they want to stop Black advancement. That's what they want to do. And so corporations like McDonald's are giving in to these thugs. And I call them thugs because what they're doing is they don't care about diversity. They don't care about any of that. And you don't see any of these folks talking about, let's fighting inequity when it comes to funding in schools and elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. They're not talking about any of those things. No, they want to play this. Oh, no, we're all on the same equal playing field. And we know that's BS.
It's absolute BS. And, I want to make it clear that diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives were started to neutralize the obvious discrimination that was occurring in companies. It was not a favor for us. It was not to get less qualified people. It was to neutralize what was already happening, the years of discrimination, okay? And even with these programs, we have to understand that 88%, 88% of CEOs, CFOs, and COOs of companies are white men. 88%. So Either you have to decide that you believe that only white men are qualified to be in leadership positions, or you have to recognize that there obviously are biased hiring decisions and promotion decisions and supplier decisions going on. So they developed these programs. But what's happening now is a war for the small progress that we've made. For instance, in 2021, there were 6 Black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, like 2%. After the George Floyd murder, it moved up to 8. But they don't even want us to have that. They're saying, oh no, we will sue you if you continue with these programs. So what McDonald's has done, and I work for McDonald's as a consultant in DEI, and they were making great strides because what they did is they would say something like, we want 25% of our executive staff, our management and above, for instance, to be women, right? And so they would tie the people's compensation and everything to diversity, equity, and inclusion goals. Do you know why they did that? They did it because it doesn't happen. People aren't nice. People don't work for diversity, equity, and inclusion unless they're incentivized. They're not doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. So what McDonald's is saying now is we're taking away all of those goals. We're just going to have conversations. We're going to go back to having people like Randy come in and make speeches so it looks like we're committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We are going to encourage and suggest that our suppliers also care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's very soft. It's not objective. It's not tied to business goals. It's not tied to compensation for managers, which means it will not happen. And how do we know it won't happen? Because it never did in the first place. When senior leaders, mostly of whom, like I said, are white and male, were given this edict to, could you please maybe hire people that are different from yourselves? They didn't do it. They've never done it. And the only time we have made progress is when we had these initiatives and goals, which McDonald's is wiping out. They will say to us, we're not killing all of our initiatives. Well, let me tell you what they're not killing. They're still going to have diversity in the workforce because you can't help but to. McDonald's is a worldwide company. If they're hiring locally, they by default have diversity. But what they did not have, and they probably will not anymore, is have women, Black people, Hispanics at powers of position. So they're fine with us working for them, but they're not fine with us leading them. So it sucks. It sucks is the bottom line.
Well, I'll say this here. What they also are fine with, Mustafa, they are fine with Black folks walking through the doors, spending their dollars. But the question is, are you seeing the return on investment to Black communities? And I'm not talking about just you sponsoring something at Essence Festival, the paltry spending on Black-owned media. I'm talking about, again, ability to build and create wealth. You know, this is the press release they put out, our commitment to inclusion at McDonald's. And of course, their critics, they're like, the goals that you established, those goals were quotas, which is just BS. And so they want to attack any of these programs that are about providing opportunities to Black folks and people of color. That's what it boils down to. And so these yahoos in there, in woke. That's how pathetic they are. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. Black folks, you start withdrawing, as Dr. King said on April 3rd, 1968, we start having economic withdrawals, then you're going to see a whole bunch of these same white conservatives feel the pain in their communities.
Absolutely.
And that's the only way that is going to change. Mm-hmm. And, I always ask the question, when we started talking about McDonald's, I was like, is the McRib worth your dignity? Because there's a whole lot of folks who, no matter what these companies do, and it's not just McDonald's, there's a whole lot of them. Randy can lay out, the whole list of folks who are, doing these regressive types of actions. But if we continue to fund our own oppression, then of course they're going to continue to do it. So the only thing that gets these types of people's attention is the money, is economics. And if you begin to take that away, then I guarantee you, then they will change these sets of actions that they're doing. And we should also be supporting those entities that are standing strong, Costco and others. So it is both sides of the coin. If you ain't going to do right, we'll take our dollars away. If you are, then we are going to support that. And, so we have power once again in this situation. We just have to make sure that we're actually utilizing it.
I'll tell you, Joe, my wallet's upstairs. And in my wallet, I've got a Sam's card and a Costco card. Well, Walmart caved to the pressure in their DEI programs. I don't walk into a Sam's. But I can tell you right now, I damn sure will provide my business to Costco.
Right. I mean, for so long, they have had the force of tradition, the force of legacy. I've said it before, the force of relationships. And when we try to get just a little piece of something through the force of law, now it's a problem. So it's as if, what underlies this is this notion of entitlement, and that therefore the 2 or 3% that we get, apparently we don't deserve. And so what that means is that all of that belongs with you and with them. And so it's a serious problem. And what's interesting is they're getting ahead of the law. The law doesn't keep them from doing what they're doing right now. And so there is a political play that's being made, right? It's another.
Oh yeah. They are scared. They are scared of these whack jobs. Oh, we're going to boycott your companies. We're going to boycott your companies. That's what they're scared of, and they're unwilling to have the guts to say, bring it on, and saying we stand with diverse customer base. That's what it's all about. And as John Hope Bryant, founder of Operation Hope, keeps saying, he's like, listen, ain't enough white men in America to continue building America's gross domestic product. He's like, so you're going to need black and brown people.
Right. I mean, you look not just to the corner, but around it. At the end of the day, the people of color is where the growth segment is. And so you have to make this decision. And so will we be as disciplined as we were all those years ago with the Montgomery bus boycott, when we decided that nobody black was riding the bus and then you choked that city economically? Will we be that disciplined to stop going to McDonald's, to stop going to Walmart, to stop going to fill in the blank? Because if we're not, then we are, funding our own oppression. And so we're really going to have to make a decision about where we go here, because these guys have jumped ahead of even where the law is. The law does not require this at all. And so, it's sad for that reason. And on top of everything else, now brother can't even get a quarter pound.
Well, I want y'all to definitely take the time to check out a conversation on YouTube that my man John Hope Bryant had, and he talked about the issue of can DEI withstand the backlash. I just want to play some of it. Check this out.
I've known that for a long time. I think President Bill Clinton sort of was able to get that right in the center. He had, lower deficits and higher GDP and an inclusive agenda. And I don't think a lot of people have gotten it right since then. But this was about insecurity and people who want a narrative that for a time that has long passed. I'm about the future. And I think that's why in your car, the front windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. I just think there's just not enough white men.
Why do you say that? That is not a popular belief, especially
probably not what you thought would come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Look, I like math because it doesn't have an opinion.
Okay.
It's a Melody Hobson quote. I just love it. The math is that I want every white male to be successful if they can be. I want everybody to be successful, but we need every successful college-educated white male to be on the field of economics. But mathematically, there's not enough college-educated, successful white men to drive GDP for 30 years.
So do you think education is the problem here, or what went wrong, or?
I mean, leadership's always the problem, and courage is always the problem. But yes, education is the ultimate poverty eradication tool. I think financial literacy is a civil rights issue of this generation. I think that AI literacy is right behind it and next to it, which is why I'm co-chairing the Financial Literacy for All initiative with the CEO of Walmart, Doug McMillan, and co-chairing the AI Ethics Council with the Steve Jobs of this generation, which is Sam Altman. But going back to, let's hit your question directly, though. I want to answer the question. white population in 1950 was 90%, not 1850, 1950. Today, 40% of this country is
So I
black
want
and
y'all to
brown.
actually go to YouTube. That's a Fortune conversation. It's about a 14-minute video. We'll check it out. And what John lays out there, Randy, is very clear. Right? Ain't enough white men. And so these white folks or these, Latinos this dude, that's what he calls himself or whatever he is. If he's Latino, I mean, they can sit here and yell all they want to, but guess what, Robbie Starbuck? It's a whole bunch of Latinos who wouldn't have contracts or would not have built businesses in this country if you did not have MWBE programs, diversity initiatives. And the reality is, as you said, Randy, the reason these programs are put in place because these white executives weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were actually depriving opportunities of people of color to interview, to be able to get jobs. And that's what's so hilarious. It's amazing. These conservative groups, they don't sit here and go after white. Because you know why? They assume the white folks that got hired, they're all fully qualified. It's all good. They say nothing about them constantly being hired, constantly getting contracts. But all of a sudden, oh no, you can't have any programs where you're trying to bring in some people of color. That's all this is all about. And guess what? You ain't going. I'm gonna tell you right now, America, y'all can play games all y'all want to, but if you keep playing this game in 10 years with the white death rate being what it is and the white birth rate being extremely low, you're gonna have a gross domestic product problem. And if America wants to maintain being the world's #1 economy, you had better recognize that you're going to have to include people of color. And that doesn't mean us being sharecroppers and tilling the soil.
And include us in a real way because we are smarter than they give us credit for. I believe, just like you said, they feel if they put up a tent at the Essence Festival and give out some free prizes at HBCU homecomings, they look as if they have a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we need to let them know. We're looking to see how many board members do you have that look like us and represent us? How many people do you have on your executive board? What suppliers are you working with that look like us? Are you actually feeding into the Black economy? And do you see us in that way? And if you don't, we will not spend money in your store. And that is, like we said earlier, that is the only way they will listen. My mama used to say, money talks and bullshit walks. So they don't care about our protests as if it doesn't hurt their pockets. And I really respect companies like Target and Costco that are saying, no, we're going to roll with with this. And we have to show them like, okay, first go to my, Black owned businesses if possible. But if not, you go to those businesses that are saying we are truly and showing that they're committed. All the businesses have statements. I've written quite a few of them. They have statements that say we are committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but we're not going to set up any programs where you could be successful here. Or, we're not going to hire your people at any levels above management, but we're still committed. I really wanted to ensure that all of your viewers out there, because if they're watching this, they are, they are about the Black cause. I want them to understand that there really is a war going on out here. It is war, and they're doing everything in their power to ensure that Black people do not progress. So we have got to fight back. And the way we do that is, one, support our own businesses and media outlets, and two, do not give money to people who are basically saying that we don't care about you and we don't respect you.
And the reason we even have these current Black McDonald's franchisees is because you had programs in the late 60s, early 70s, and 80s. And those are that created economic opportunities, Black car dealerships as well, the opportunity for Black folks to participate in this. Oh, and let me also remind a lot of these same white conservatives or people like Robbie Starbuck, affirmative action programs started under Richard Nixon, Republican, conservative Republican. Go Google Arthur Fletcher. And trust me, America ain't changed that much from 1969 to 2024.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free to download, free to use, next generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.